GlobeTrotter TV is a weekly half-hour lifestyle television show that features lots of adventures and cultures from around the world.
Yes, I can, and it talks about your life in the fashion industry, which is a very competitive industry. And,
oh, yes.
But you did really well at a very young age, so if you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, I got into it unbeknownst to me and decided that I didn't know anyone, but I looked at the mastheads, found all these people. They recommended Vogue to me right off the bat. So it was Vogue, and Vogue recommended Bendel's and Bonwitz and all the top stores. So I was in those stores at a very early age, and then we had all the press from the Times to women's wear, you name it. And the Schoenberg, by the way, has 12 boxes of editorials from that particular period from me. So people, I figured they can store it, they can preserve it. And we had an exhibition at Cornell University of a month long of my clothes from the past, and editorials and tapes, and also Museum of the City of New York had a 6-month long exhibition a couple of years ago as well. I had to call people who had these clothes after all these years because I don't own any of that stuff. So it was, pulling all that together. But the clothes look so today. And then I was honored at FIT not too long ago, and some of the models came out with some of those clothes they've had for so long, and again, they look so new.
And I just want to, again, just mention how young you were. You said it was from the age of 22 to 27, you owned your own manufacturing company,
That's right.
Which is pretty amazing.
And, we had all kinds of wonderful people come in. Sammy Davis's wife was one of the first clients that came in. Then we had the Motown group, like the Supremes and the Vandellas, and Sybil Burton, who had just divorced. Richard Burton was a great fan, and just everybody. And we used to go to Arthur all the time, which had all the celebrities in the world. So it was a fantastic time to share with all these people and just be a part of all that. And Dolly Reed and Walter Reed, who owned the movie chain, we did things at their home in terms of doing a show and their theaters. And then when I came back, Debbie Allen and people like that came along. And so we used to do also some of the soaps. And Star Search was another one that we used to do as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of those shows and designs and all kinds of things. The Weight Watchers with Lynn Redgrave, we used to do those clothes for that as well.
So tell me, who inspired you? What inspired you to create some of the designs that you did? A lot of them I saw just very flowing, a lot of chiffon, help me out here.
Schmutters.
Silk. Just very beautiful.
Fluid.
Fluid, thank you. So talk a little bit about what inspired you.
Well, it's really all about the fabric. I was asked at the City Museum, the Museum of the City of New York, what's the difference between you and Tom Hilfiger or whatever? And I said, we were like Scott Barry, Willie, Stephen Burrows, and myself. We were very touchy-feely, and they're very cookie-cutter. So it's totally different. We understood where fabric went and how it draped and so forth. So it was all about that. And also my travel was an inspiration because it was all about movement and dance. And I used to dance a lot as well. So I was out dancing every night. So everything was just about fluidity and movement, which I think is so important. And we used to have the models dance. I remember one of the girls from Neiman Marcus said to me, you were the first one to have the models dance down the runway. Nobody else was doing it at the time. And she said, and we couldn't even keep up with them. And I said, you know what? It's what I felt. I just did what I felt. And it became very natural.
We have Bryant Park now today, where we have Fashion Week.
They're changing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to Lincoln Center.
It's going to be a Lincoln Center now.
Yeah.
And what was it like in your time when you were?
Well, when I was doing it, we did it in various locations.
Okay.
And then the latter part, when I came back in the 80s, I did it in my studio, which was a wonderful studio with a big terrace in the front, and everything was self-contained. And it was a whole floor, and it was just marvelous because everybody came there, and it was just, and I had the double doors like Loretta Young. You open the double doors with the latches, and it was just a fabulous place, lots of mirrors.
So what made you leave, and what made you come back?
Well, I left because I think I was just feeling sort of dried up at that point. And then I came back because I felt inspired. And then the industry had changed because originally what happened, stores, when they gave you a confirmation, they bought it. And it was theirs if they didn't sell it.
Okay.
When I came back, if the store didn't sell it, they wanted to return it to you. As a small manufacturer, you can't do that.
Okay.
Because you have people to pay, the electricity, the rent, the whole works. How can you take things back, and then what are you going to do with it, So, and especially if they've ordered it.
Right.
And so it sort of changed the whole complexity of it.
Right.
And so I said, no. Then I said, took a couple of years figuring out what am I going to do. I really didn't know what I want to do next. And somehow I wound up going off to teach for 10 Thursdays, and I quit. I said, I can't do this. And then I wound up being a tour operator.
Did you teach design?
Yeah, at Parsons. Hated it. Hated it.
Sounds like it would be such a great thing.
No, I hated it. And then I became a tour operator, and what cured me was these three sisters wanted to be in the same row in the plane, and each one wanted a window. So I said, I'm out. So then a friend called and said, what about writing? So I was writing for several magazines, and then one of the people from one of the magazines moved to one of the newspapers and said, what about your writing? So I said, fine. I started writing this weekly column for like 4 years actually, and then I did food and travel. So I was covering restaurants, and that's why I love food, and also travel.
Yeah.
And travel is, you know what I said at my first book signing, which was the African American Travel Guide? I said, people who've known me for a long time know that fashion was my first love, but travel has always been my passion. And so I just began to travel and do more of it, and I just love it. And the people that I meet are so extraordinary, and I keep reiterating, it's the people that make a difference.
Wow. You traveled when you were 22, which is about the same time that you started your company.
Yeah.
So it sort of flowed together in a
Oh yeah,
way.
yeah.
That's
And the fact that,
wonderful.
you know, we're inspired at Rio of all things, Carnival, all the costumes, you know, and the people, and the dancing the samba in the street. I mean, it was just amazing.
Great. So let me ask you, would you ever go back into the fashion industry at
No.
all? That was a real quick answer. Wow. So what do you think about what you're seeing out there? Do you like?
In terms of clothes,
Yeah.
I don't really think about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm very conservative. I wear the same stuff that I've been wearing for 30 years. I really don't think about clothes any longer. I think what I think about is really travel and expressing what I've experienced at the destination and meeting new people. And that's really what I think life is about. And my next ambition is to write a screenplay.
Wonderful.
So I'm really excited about it. But producing and hosting this GlobeTrotter TV is an extraordinary experience. And the people that I've met around the world have just...
You know, you don't hear things like that too often, you know, Botswana, you know.
Well,
You know, on a-
Zambia, we almost died on the Zambezi River. We hit a number 9. The boat threw me 100 feet away. I said, now I know what death is like. And I'm swallowing water, and someone came and saved me, and we got back in the boat, and it was amazing. But Zambia is another incredible destination. Victoria Falls and all of that, and
Yes.
and you have animals sashaying on the ground.
Any advice you would give for people that want to take their first trip away from the beaten path? Is there a place that you feel might work best for them?
Well, it depends on how far away and how remote. You know, as they say, whether you want, if you're the high maintenance or not.
Okay,
You know?
okay, well, let's...
You know, like I call myself high maintenance.
Okay.
You're like Stanley's camp was the best one as far as I'm concerned in Botswana, although there were others that I was at, but that was my favorite. My idea of a tent is that I have oriental carpet on the floor, an armoire, 4-poster bed, you know, normal bathroom. That's a tent for me. I mean, it's...
Now, I'm glad you mentioned another book that you wrote.
The African American Travel Guide.
Yeah, tell me about why you felt the need to write that.
Well, I wrote it, the publisher came up with that title because it really doesn't apply to any race. It really is about, the first part is about how to get your act together, how to get a passport, visa, and all that sort of stuff. And the second part is just a narrative about some of my experiences around the world. So it's not about being black or green or white or orange. It really is about a travel experience and how to get it together.
We're going to have to cut this short. It's just been fascinating
Why?
talking to you, Jon, and I definitely have to watch the show and thank our viewers for tuning in to Access for All. My name is Arlene Makoko. Thank you for joining us. Wow.
You'll have to explore some of these great destinations.
I want to. I totally want to. I'm a bit of a, believe it or not, I was born in Kinshasa, Zaire, which is the former Congo, now it's DRC. But I'm a bit of a, you know, I like staying in one place, maybe because I traveled so much as a child, you know, I like staying in one spot, you know, forever, but I think it would be fun to